Hi, everyone. Welcome to day 2 of Spotlight Pathways. I hope y'all are really excited. If not, you will be. Today, we have two guests in the computer science track. Samuel, why don't you briefly explain who we are and what we do before I introduce our guests?
Mm-hmm. So very quickly, for anyone who isn't familiar with us and our previous webinars, we are Illuminare, a student-run company that produces the Kaizen Project, a podcast that focuses on career exploration and improving student life. So let me show you here very quickly. So this is our podcast, the Kaizen Project. You can see here, we have a YouTube channel that you guys might want to check out. So day 1 of Spotlight Minds, we did U of T engineering versus Waterloo engineering. So that was the last webinar that we just did. It's on YouTube right now. If you guys missed it, please check it out. But yeah, it's pretty cool. So if you guys want to subscribe, like our videos, go ahead. And that's who we are.
Yep. And now I'm going to talk about how today's webinar will run. We'll start by briefly introducing our guests and getting to know them a bit before jumping into an extended Q&A session. Starting from now until the end, type any questions that you may have for Alex or Nameerah into the Q&A box. Now, we'll decide which questions get answered in priority by the number of upvotes. And please upvote the question that you'd like to see answered. And yeah, as always, no swearing in the chat room. And back to you, Samuel.
Yeah, so I really want to emphasize that, like, starting from this moment, guys, please go and spam the Q&A section with any questions you might want to see answered. Just like the last webinar, we're going to try to go through as many of the questions as possible. You can put like very personal questions about like the situations, which programs you want to get into, or more broad questions. So just please upload the questions you want to see. And yeah, so let's just start off by having our guests introduce themselves. So do you guys want to explain who you are, what program you go to, and why you chose your program?
Right,
Hi,
sure.
my name is Alex. Oh, you can go first. Go ahead, Nameerah.
Okay, well, my name is Nameerah, as you guys heard. I go to Waterloo Computer Science. Technically, I'm in the double degree BBA and ComSci program with Laurier, but today I think we're only focusing on the CS part of that. Currently, I'm in 5th year, so I'm almost done, graduating hopefully at the end of the year. Go on, Alex.
Hi, my name is Alex. I'm a second-year student at U of T, going to my 3rd year in the computer science major. I am also doing a double major program, another one in philosophy. But again, since we're focusing computer science, that's what we are here for. And I would love to answer any of your questions.
All right. So let's get down to it. Let's get you guys to answer a few of our questions first. Now, would you two please describe a typical day in your lives at both Waterloo and the campus of U of T? Go ahead. Describe a day.
It's a good question. I mean, one thing that you'll notice is different from university, from high school, is that you have a lot of freedom as to how you want to arrange your own time, right? Because, I mean, there are indeed days that I have like 8 hours of class, but there are also days where I only have 2 hours of lecture, right? So the rest of the day is really up to you of how you want to arrange your time, right? So, I mean, you can either spend your time, staying in the dorms and watching YouTube all day, or you can do things that are a little bit more productive, right? Like going out with friends, studying in the library, try to hit the gym when you can. Yeah, that's the university life.
Right. How about Nameerah? What's the day in the life like?
I agree with Alex in terms of how the structure is different from high school. I personally prefer the university structure. First of all, because you have a little bit more freedom as to how you arrange your own courses. First of all, you have slightly more electives as you go on in your program. You can choose the courses that you want to do and also how you want to arrange them in your own schedule. So a lot of times, like, each course will have multiple sections, and you can change around your sections based on what kind of timing you prefer, etc., right? That being said, you still get stuck with 8:30 classes, so there's no getting out of that. But I think overall, it's sort of a little bit more freedom as to what you want to do with your time.
Okay, that sounds great. Would there be anything special about your program or your university in particular that differentiates from all the other ones?
I think for Waterloo specifically, it's hands down the co-op program. I think Waterloo has focused so much on its co-op program. They've invested a ton of money. Not only that, they have relationships with so many employers, not just in Canada, but in the States as well. You've probably heard of a lot of Waterloo CS students going on to work at, the Silicon Valley, big four companies, etc. We have several co-ops actually, co-op placements at Google, Facebook, all the big names that you've probably heard of before. So I think in terms of differentiation, co-op is the number one thing that Waterloo stands for.
I think what differentiates U of T computer science is the flexibility of the program. Because CS program at U of T is part of the Faculty of Arts and Science, along with many other different programs that belong in arts and science, such as maybe biology or history, philosophy, economics. You can freely combine any two programs of your choice to do a double major. So for instance, some of my friends have a big interest in financial technology, right? So they're doing a double major in computer science and economics, which will give them a really head start if they don't apply to jobs in the banks, etc. Or if you're interested in like natural language processing, machine learning, you can do a double major in linguistics and computer science. And I think this type of flexibility you don't really get from any other school.
I see. You can also minor though, right? Because like
you can minor, but usually people do a double major in one thing and another thing. Or if you choose, you can do a specialist. That's always an option, right?
I see.
Yeah, like with Waterloo, you can do options. I don't know if it's similar at U of T.
Yeah, might be similar. Yeah.
What about the tuition costs? Like, is it more if you like get a double major or something?
No, actually no. It's the same tuition.
Oh, it's
that
same?
Being said, though, the computer science program does have a little bit higher tuition compared to other programs.
Okay. Why don't you give like a breakdown if you know like of the different tuitions?
Okay. So if you're doing a general degree in either the arts or the science, it should be around like 7K to 8K a year for local students. If you're doing more specialized fields such as engineering, that might be get into 13K, 14K a year. Yeah, computer science is like 12K.
Oh, okay. It's one of the higher end.
Yeah, on the higher end. How about Waterloo?
Yeah. Do you know of it, Nameerah-ish?
Sorry?
Do you know the cost and tuition of Waterloo? It's okay if you don't like. I don't know. Like, I think it's about the same. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure entirely. Like, are you comparing U of T versus Waterloo tuition? Or?
Yeah, and most of the schools, like CS and stuff. Yeah.
I think for mine, it's usually around 8K a term. I don't know how it is.
U of T is slightly more expensive.
Slightly more, okay.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Sounds great. Why don't we get into the Q&A boxes and see what questions people want to see answered? All right, to start off. Okay. What's something you can learn in a CS degree that you can't learn on your own? Would you like to answer that?
Can I be honest? In terms of the application part, I wouldn't say there's anything that you can't learn on your own. The reason I think a CS degree adds value is because it actually gives you the theoretical knowledge, right? A lot of times you can go onto websites and learn coding on your own. That's totally fine. But the difference between a great programmer and a good programmer is that a great one really has his theory down, because you need to know, for example, first of all, CS is a lot of problem solving, right? You're finding ways, you're using your skills and your computer skills to basically solve different problems, right? The difference is that you need to be able to do so in an efficient way, and you need to use the right structures and the right techniques to get there, if that makes sense. I don't want to go too much into like data structures because obviously
no course on that. No fun.
The point is that you need to sort of know the difference between different computer science tools and how to use them and what benefit you would have in using one tool versus the other. And I think that theory is what computer science programs really drill down.
I think that's a great answer. Yeah, I think I will answer it along the same lines that, I mean, you can learn coding on your own, right? There's a lot of things that you can learn how to code just through working on tutorials online and, following instructions. But, I mean, at least for my courses, especially in the up-year CS courses, practically you won't touch a computer, right? It's all theory. It's very rigorous, like a math course. right? A lot of times you're doing proofs, you're doing problem solving, you're learning efficiencies of different approaches to problems. And I think that's where a a computer science degree really comes in handy, because it gives you the formal training to understand formally and mathematically how to approach these questions in a smart and efficient way.
Mm-hmm.
How much do you think the theory and like the basics of those, like the basis, how much do you think that helps in like problem solving versus just learning coding on your own?
If you're coding like a simple program, right, then you won't need to get into complex algorithms or data structures. But like imagine if you're working for a multinational company, right, and they have a lot of information and data that you have to handle, right? Just you have to know how to approach those data, right, and use appropriate data structures to solve the problems efficiently, right? It's also about software engineering principles.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of the SE, but you also learn it in CS as well, right?
Yeah.
About if you're working on a giant project, how can you best code and structure your program in such a way that it allows it for extendability in the future, right? And how it's easy to understand by future computer coders.
That's actually a really good question, because, sorry, I just want to add one more thing. When I first went into the program, first year, second year, a lot of the students basically noticed that they weren't, the goal of the classes and the lectures wasn't exactly to teach us programming. We weren't doing a ton of actual programming. And I actually talked to a prof about this once, and he gave me a really good answer. He said that the thing with our field is that things change so frequently, right? You can't really teach somebody how to code in, a specific language. Who knows, in 2 years that language is obsolete. The key is to teach the person how to code so that they can do so in any language. That's the idea.
That's a great answer.
Yep. All right. So going on to the next question. Did you do any competitive programming or side projects before university?
Surprisingly, no.
Me neither. Yeah. I mean, I did work on many side projects just on my own, making games and stuff, but not too much of competitive programming. Yeah. I don't think that's required for you to get into the program, right? You will receive the formal training that you need.
How much would it help your applications though if you do?
I think it did help a few. Yeah.
They do have, I think in the I don't remember the application anymore. It's been a while, but I do remember they had a section for entering, like links to your GitHub, I think.
I think I'll get into this later, because I think the application process for UTCS is going to change massively from 2020. So it's going to be different from how it was a few years back. But we'll get into it later in a different question.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Moving on again. Okay. What's the difference between computer science and software engineering?
Mm-hmm. I think this question is along the same lines of what we answered earlier, that computer science is focused more on the theory, right? You're learning how to do proofs, you're learning data structures, you're learning principles of maybe machine learning and system engineering, right? Whereas software engineering, you're focused more on the practical aspect of being a programmer. Okay. So I would say if you're interested in pursuing like a master's or PhD degree in the related field of technology, CS might be more useful than SE.
A lot of the jobs I find do overlap though.
Mm-hmm.
You can get some jobs with either or degree. So I do find it overlaps, but I guess the key difference, as you said, is software engineering is a bit more application based than computer science.
Yeah, but I mean, if you just want to get a job after undergrad, there's I think practically no difference between SE and CS. Exactly. Yeah.
So when choosing your program, how did you guys decide between CS and SE?
Oh, for me, it was because, again, I was interested in the flexibility that the CS program offers, right? Because CS at U of T is part of the arts and science faculty, right? I'm also very interested in, ethics and philosophy. I'm a big reader. That's what I'm interested in, right? So I kind of went to U of T just to get a double major, right?
Right.
Whereas if you do engineering is its own faculty. You have to only do engineering.
Oh, I see. For me, it was, I found the program with the double degree with Laurier and Waterloo, and I was like, okay, this is like the coolest program ever. So I just kind of deviated are towards computer science mainly because of the good options that there were in terms of like the program structure. I figured like 5 years, you get exposure to 2 different schools and 2 different fields is sort of a good deal. So I just went with that.
Yeah, so I guess our questions are along the same line, right? That with
see.
CS, you can get more of a flexible learning if you choose, right? Whereas engineering is more exclusive.
When you apply though,
Engineering-
is it to the same thing?
No, it's not. SE and CS, they're 2 different things you have to apply for.
Oh, okay.
Kind about engineering, but the friends I have in Eng, they do seem to have a lot more structure and they have a lot more class time compared to us.
Okay.
So a lot of the attendees, they're asking what opportunities are available for high schoolers to become more involved in CS. So I think very popular in this like field for high school students are they're looking to get into Waterloo computer contests and Waterloo math contests. So do you think like did you do any of them, or do you think they played part in your admission to the program?
So for me personally, I started taking the computer science high school courses. And that was sort of my initial exposure to CS, right? That was, I think it started in grade 9, I believe, right? So from grade 9 all the way till 11, I took all the CS courses. And through my high school class, they actually got us to do a competition.
Oh, that's really nice, yeah.
So that was actually pretty good because it was like the entire class got to do it. And that was like the one competition that I remember I did. But apart from that, at that time, not a lot of students were doing these competitions. So honestly, I find it really great that you guys are kind of going out your way and finding these opportunities, because from what I remember when I was applying for university, there weren't a lot of people really digging into, you know, what contests there might be out there or what, you know, opportunities there might be to give you an advantage. So the contests that you're talking about, again, are really good to put on your application package. And of course, it's a Waterloo contest. So, you know, the admissions personnel will know all about it. So if you do get a chance, I would say go for it. But at the same time, it's not a requirement. So keep that in mind. I think you should go for these extracurriculars if you know you are meeting your requirements like bang on, because that's the first thing that they'll look at. Your marks are the first thing they'll look at, right? You guys all know that. If you know you're hitting that bang on, then it's time to kind of look forward and do these extra things, right? That's kind of my take on it.
And, you know, apart from the competition, there's many other extra things that you can do, right? Like when I was in high school, I was a founding member of the Robotics Club. I think that's something that they will also look for, right? If that's a thing at your high school, it's a lot of fun, right? Try it out.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
First robotics, I did that one too.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Another question is, what are some pathways you can branch out to after getting a CS degree?
So after you have a CS degree, you can obviously go the programmer route. You can also take, you can also go towards project management. It's similar. It's still in the tech field, but there's less programming and more sort of management of the software.
Yeah, business management. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. There is product management. There is programming. There is also, you can also go slightly towards the business side of things within a tech company. I think from what I've seen with people that have gone on to do different things post CS degree, you can technically do whatever you want to as long as you make a good case for it. We were talking about this earlier. You can carve out a story to your interviewer, or you can say, this is why I want to be in this field. There's no reason why you can't do it. But the main thing you need to do is you need to have a story, and you need to be able to present yourself in an appealing way to your employer. That's literally it.
I think a good thing about having a CS degree is that it gives you enough exposure to technology, right? That you can kind of work your way through any type of job or future things that you might want to do that involve technology, right? It doesn't have to strictly be programming, right? Maybe you want to do something on the research side, right? With a CS degree, you can do your master's or PhD if that's what you're interested in, or you can do in the business of technology, right? Do project management, or if you just want to focus on programming itself, you can always become like a programmer, right?
So really
not that big
when
of
you
a
say
limit of,
right, sorry, when you say like CS, it's more of like the science of everything, right? It's like not necessarily programming, and like if you want to get involved in the more like businessy side, you could, but like with the computer science background, you're basically trying to put out the image that like it really branches out to everything, and it's much easier to get another job, right? Because you don't have to be like a programmer at like a bank. Like you can like do something else.
I mean,
Okay,
computer
that's
science
what,
is science after all, right? It gives you
yeah, it is.
enough training that you understand the basic principles of technology. I think that's what's really important about getting a CS degree.
So sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying by the time you get to second year, third year, you'll start to figure out where your interests lie. And then you can arrange your courses based on that. So for us, for Waterloo, you can do options in artificial intelligence and all these cool topics. And that gives you more of a specialization in a specific area of computer science. And that helps you sort of have more knowledge in it. So when you go out to employers looking for jobs, you have a bit more of a story to tell. You have better knowledge of that specific job.
Yeah, it's same at UFT. Course selection becomes way more flexible after your second year, right? So if you're interested in AI, you can focus on that. If you're interested in like video game development, there's also an option for that. Or system development, right? Working on databases. There's so many things that you can do, right?
Why is it after second year though?
Because first and second years is really laying the foundation, right?
Oh, okay.
Like it doesn't matter what kind of branch that you want to do in the future, right? You have to know the core principles of computer science. Yeah. And those core principles apply to again anything that you want to do, right?
When you guys Nameerah was talking about like crafting a better story, and basically she was talking about the jobs and stuff. Like if you get like a co-op opportunity, what year like during the term would it be like second year, first year, and like how would it like work?
So for computer science only, the single degree program, you get your first co-op in the summer semester after first year. So you have your fall semester, your winter is your study term, and then you get your first co-op. For Laurier side double degrees, which is me, I got my first co-op in second year, second semester. So there's these different, you'll have different streams based on what program you're in. When you go forward in the program, you can even change the sequence of your co-op in your study term as well. But
for UFT, go ahead. Sorry.
The earliest you'll get it is the summer after first year.
Okay.
Yeah, so for UFT, because the program isn't really tailored towards co-op like Waterloo, right? It's more tailored towards academics. So you're expected to complete your entire semester from first semester, second semester. So you'll do your co-op during summertime.
Oh, okay. So you can't do it
usually that's the case.
Term.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there is an option though. After your second year, you can do a PEY, professional experience year, where you apply to pretty much do co-op for a whole year at a single place.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
And that would count towards as a credit.
All right.
Just to clarify, does UFT have a co-op program specifically, or is it internships that students look for on their own?
No, it's internship. It's internships.
It's internships. Okay, so that's
we don't have specific co-op programs. It's part of the academics.
So you guys are talking about like finding your stream or like what you're interested in. What do you guys hope to do after you graduate?
I'm really looking into product management. I think it's like the perfect middle ground between CS and business. And since that's both my degrees, it just makes perfect sense, right? So I'm working towards that. We'll see how that goes.
For me, I'm a weird case because I'm actually interested in getting to law school. I'm very interested in the legal field around technology. So looking forward to do my LSAT next year and see how that goes.
Oh, okay.
Thanks. Yeah.
You plan to get your JD, Alex?
Of course, man.
Okay. Wait, so which are you in fourth year now?
I mean, I'm going to third year.
Oh, you're going to third year.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's 4 years for the bachelor's of the thing, right?
Yes, it's a 4-year program at UFT. Yeah.
Okay, and then once you're done, like you apply to grad school, and that's like 2-3 years.
Yeah, depends on what you do, right?
Okay. Cool. All right. let's look at the questions. Okay. What extracurriculars do you think are worth attending in high school that you think made you an attractive candidate for university? Yeah, I think most of the people are like asking about like how they can get into the program and like stand out. Yeah.
I think, again, for me personally, right, I did extracurriculars that I was part of the robotics club, so I think that really helped. That was also part of the philosophy club. So I think you don't have to necessarily tailor your extracurriculars to computer science, right? As long as you are showing the admission officers that you're involved in lives more than just the academics, that should be sufficient. Of course, it's nice to do something related to technology, right, in computer science. Yeah.
No, I 100% agree. I think that's key. For me personally, I was extremely varied. Like, I definitely didn't zero in on only CS related extracurriculars. Funny thing is, we have something in common. I did robotics as well in my second last year. No, grade 11 and grade 12, I did robotics. But apart from that, everything else I was doing was just whatever I was interested in. I mean, I did competitive dance, right? Nothing to do with computer science. But the key is to just show your admissions committee that you are a well-rounded individual. You're not, you have the ability to do things apart from just studying all day. And, you can manage your time in a way that you're able to fulfill all these interests of yours as well as your academic responsibilities. That's I think the key to admissions.
So overall, it's like marks first and then like well-roundedness. Like it doesn't have to be just okay.
It doesn't have to be tailored towards computer science.
Okay. All right. Sam, you want to take the next one?
Yeah, so you guys are talking about how you don't really necessarily need to know like lots of code before going into your program, but like lots of these high school students, they want to learn code right now. What languages would you recommend them learn right now?
Python for beginners.
Hands down.
Yeah, Python. Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah, but please know that I think for both U of T and Waterloo, the first year program is designed in such a way that they expect you to know nothing. Right.
Yeah.
It's nice that you have some knowledge before you come in, but know that is not required.
I think first year mainly just levels the playing field. It just gets everyone on to the same page because there's people that know absolutely no coding, and there's people coming in that have done coding for 5-6 years already. So it kind of just levels the playing field in terms of getting everyone on the same page.
How would you recommend learning like Python though, like or like any other language like right now? Just like go online and stuff.
Just there's a lot of good resources online, right? Python is a very intuitive language that you don't have to get into like the weird details of memory structures and things like that, right? It's very intuitive, and I think.
How'd you do it? Like, did you like get a tutor or something, or did you learn yourself?
Oh no. I took courses in high school, right? If you're interested, take a course in high school. Yeah.
So have you guys heard of Code Academy? It's a website. It's a really great website that allows learn basically any relevant computer science language. So if you go on codeacademy.com, let me just verify that's the right one. Yeah, codeacademy.com. And then go on the Python section. There's courses that will take you step by step, and you'll sort of it's hands-on as well. So it'll teach you the concept, and then it will say, okay, code this on the platform. So I think it's a really great way to learn if you're looking to learn. If you want, I can type the website on the chat so everyone can see.
That would be great. Go ahead. All right. While Nameerah does that, maybe we can go on to the next one. Okay.
Yes, we have an onslaught of questions from Ryan Lin.
Yes.
Do you have to maintain a certain average to stay in the program?
This is a great question because for U of T, for the past few years, yes, especially from first year to second year, right? I was talking about this earlier with Wen Yang, right? That the 50% dropout rate at U of T CS is not a myth, right? It is statistically true for the past few years that you have to maintain above like a ridiculous average from first year to second year to be offered a spot in the program. But from 2020, this is about to change. From 2020, U of T is actually giving out guarantee offers straight from high school, right? So you don't have to go through the competition once you're in university, right? I'm not sure how it works at Waterloo, right? Is it?
Nameerah? Or I
There.
think she's typing the
Oh
question.
yeah.
I
No
was
worries,
just
yeah.
typing it out on the chat.
Yeah.
Do you mind repeating the question?
Alex.
Oh, it's just that do you have to maintain an average to stay in the program?
There is, yeah. So there's a requirement. Your CS average, which is only your computer science courses, average can be no less than 60. It's not like an insane,
Yeah,
requirement.
I mean,
But
I
there
think
are.
it's the same with U of T starting from this year, right? As long as if you have a guaranteed offer straight from high school, as long as you get over 70, you'll stay in the program, right?
Mm.
Yeah, but this wasn't the case for the past few years. For the past few years, you have to have like over like 87 to get a chance to stay in the program, which
Oh,
is
that's
pretty
ridiculous.
Oh, so it's like preconditional offer.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's why before, right, when I was applying, it was relatively easy to get in U of T, but it's hard to stay in, right? But I think starting from 2020, they're also asking for a higher admission average and also more supplementary things, right? Because they're giving out guaranteed offers.
Mm.
Wait, so how hard is it to maintain an 87 or like a 70? Like, what's it like? Because
Oh.
like there's
No,
the
it's
transition.
hard, right? It's hard. It's a
Yeah.
ridiculous grind in my first year. Yeah. And
Oh, okay.
it's like you study the first year classes, right? There's 1,000 freshmen in all of your CS foundation courses, right? And you look around and you realize that you're only going to see half those people in second year.
How many were in your class
Oh.
when you started? And then like
Pardon?
how much ended up? How much did you see
Well,
at
I
first?
think there's more than 1,000 students in most of my courses. There end up being 550 remained.
550 in like all in the entire track?
Yeah, in the track.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so the myth is not just a myth. Okay.
No, it's real. It's
No,
real.
it's definitely not a myth.
Yeah, it's 50%
Okay.
dropout U of T. It's real.
Yeah.
You said it's just it's more or less just in the CS track, right? Because like other ones like in rock.
Yes, and that was the problem. That's why they're making changes this year, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Why did they keep it at that high at first though? Do you know why?
Because, I mean, well, the reason being is that, again, CS is part of the arts and science program, right? Arts and science faculty. And it is a tradition in this arts and science faculty that you don't actually get to be in the program until second year, right? But CS became so competitive that it was being ridiculous.
It was overflowed.
It was overflowed, essentially,
Okay.
right? So they're
They need
moving
to screen
things
out people?
that it's more adhering to like how they do things in Rodman or engineering.
Okay. Because to my knowledge, like someone said, like basically they just wanted like to screen out people and get like kick out a few and then like just keep the.
I mean, that's
selective
part of the
ones.
purpose, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it is a very good school. A lot of people want to get in, but we have limited resources.
Right. Okay. Understood. All right. Let's take the next question. Does being an IB help with applications? Why don't you talk more about the international baccalaureate and how it helps and maybe the advanced placement and stuff? If any way it does.
To my knowledge, IB isn't an advantage. I'm sorry, guys. I know a lot of you are probably in IB. But from what I've seen, it hasn't. So I used to be an IB. I actually didn't. What I ended up doing is I went into IB strategically, did grade 9, 10, and then I dropped it right before 12. So, your marks kind of shoot up the roof, essentially.
Yeah.
And then you apply and you get in everywhere. That was kind of the idea.
Oh,
But,
big brain.
I'm not encouraging this, by the way. It's just something I ended up doing. But for what I've seen from people, I think one of my cousins actually finished the IB program, and he ended up doing engineering at Waterloo. And what he's told me is that it hasn't given him sort of an advantage in the admissions, but it made his first year really easy.
Oh, I see.
That's the difference.
I think that's a good point. It's along the same lines as U of T, right? Because as far as I know, U of T doesn't accept any like AP or IB credits, right? So I think the advantage is that you will know some of the things that you're learning in your first year before you actually come into university. Yeah, but unfortunately, U of T doesn't accept the credit, right? So you'll still have to take the course.
Okay, so right now it's 4:40, so we'll try to like just speed it up a little bit. But how did you guys prepare for the video interview?
And if you could name some examples of like the questions and like the things that went on. You guys had a video interview, right?
I didn't. Yeah.
No,
Oh,
no.
I can't speak for this. Yeah. Did
Oh,
you have
okay.
one, Nameerah?
No, I didn't have one either.
Yeah.
I had one for different programs, but not for the one that I'm in.
Right. But I think there might be video interviews for U of T admissions starting from this year, right? Again, because they're changing how they are accepting students. So,
Okay.
yeah, I can't speak too much for this one. Sorry.
Okay. Which universities did you consider in grade 12 while applying?
I was dead set on U of T.
Oh, actually?
Yeah.
You didn't even take a second to think about Waterloo?
No, I didn't apply for Waterloo. It was just U of T, yeah.
Wait, so you
Oh,
applied
sorry,
to
Nameerah.
one school?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, I mean, I applied for other schools as well as backup, right? But
Right.
the moment I got a U of T offer, I just didn't care about anything else.
You just went all in. Okay.
Yeah.
Nameerah, what about you?
For me, I did U of T Waterloo. I applied to Western as well, but for a different program. And what else did I apply to? I think those were my three. I applied to McMaster as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
The
All
4.
right. Did you get them all?
I didn't get McMaster for some reason, but I got the rest. Because I had 2 programs at USC, I got both. And then I got the Waterloo one that was my first choice. And I got Western. But I don't know what happened to McMaster.
Okay. All right. Maybe McMaster is the one that, I don't know, people get rejected for. But okay.
It was a different program, though. It was more business. It wasn't like tech related.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay. Maybe that makes a difference then.
Perhaps, yeah.
Okay. You might have already touched on this, but would you just like go very nailed down precise on like the jobs that you can get with a CS degree versus the ones with an SE degree that you can't?
I don't think there is any as far as I know.
There isn't?
Yeah, I mean, if you're just talking about having an undergrad in SE and CS, I think an SE can do anything that CS can do, and a CS can do anything that SE can do.
But that's an undergrad, right?
Yes.
What happens after?
I mean, CS will open you up for more opportunities for grad school, right? Because CS is more theory focused, and that's what they're looking for in grad school, right? But just speaking as an undergrad, as far as I know, I don't think there's a major difference.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, if you're talking just about jobs, Alex is right. You can get either or jobs based on. I mean, it doesn't really matter which degree you get. You can do most of the same jobs with both degrees. The only difference is the knowledge that you'll come out of university with.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good.
I think Sydney really wants her question answered. So like a lot of our attendees, they're asking like, do grade 11 marks matter? So in her case, she's in grade 10 right now and she's taking grade 11 comp sci. So she's asking what courses show up on her uni transcript. And she wants to know if there's a way to make sure that the grade 11 course that she took in grade 10 shows up. I don't know if that makes sense. But.
I think grade 11 marks do matter, but it's not nearly as much as people think that they would.
How do they look at it?
So do they look at grade 11 marks?
I think they look at the credits that you take like as a grade 11 course, right? So if you take it in grade 10, they'll also look at that, I think.
Wasn't the standard thing like the top 6 URM courses in grade 12?
Top 6 is in grade 12. That is the standard, right? So that's what you should be focusing on, right? So don't worry too much about grade 11 marks.
And it's still top 6? Has it changed?
I think it's still top 6
I'm pretty sure it's still the same.
I think one of the top 6 is always English, grade 12 English.
Yeah, English and calculus.
The rest of your whatever 5, you get the top marks in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. And then the rest of the 4 is just like whatever your top is. Do they care which one? Okay.
No, I don't think so.
No, some programs have requirements, right? Some programs will say we want your grade 12 English, we want your grade 12, calculus and vectors?
Calculus and vectors, yeah.
And then the rest are like open. Whichever one you get the highest marks in, you add that to your, top 6. But a lot of programs are literally the only mandatory course is grade 12 English. Everything else is sort of open. That being said, I personally didn't apply for early acceptance, but I've heard that if you apply early, I think there's like an early acceptance round. They do look at your grade 11 marks. Don't quote me on this because again, it's been a while, but I think that's something to look into if you're worried.
I'm pretty sure they do. I think a couple of people said that like they do look for grade 11 for early admissions.
Okay.
But only for early,
Yeah. So my advice is that focus on your grade 12 marks. right? Still do well in good 11, right? Because it builds on habit, right? But good 12 is what you should be focusing on.
A question from Scott Hopton, which is, will there be a post at U of T for CS this coming school year?
There will be.
POS.
There will be.
Okay.
Well, again, post means program of study, right?
Oh, okay.
Is what I was referring to, of you actually being in the program by the second year of university, right? So for the past few years, post was ridiculously competitive. Only half the people make into post. There will still be post in the future, but it's a lot easier because you will only get in CS from high school if you have a guaranteed offer. At least majority of the case, I think, starting from 2020.
Okay. What happens to the people after, like, they get in, or the people that don't get in? Like,
They have to
because-
demote the other programs. So I'm doing like math or statistics.
Oh, okay. All right. Got it. Oops. Okay. Another question is, what are the differences between CS at U of T versus Waterloo? That's a good question.
I think the
You guys
number one.
wanna-
That is a good question. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say co-op is the number one difference because we touched on this before, but U of T has internships, whereas Waterloo has co-op.
Mm-hmm.
The difference between internships and co-op is basically co-op is a part of your program. You get credits for completing co-op terms.
Mm-hmm.
Internships, on the other hand, even though you might have support from your university in like getting internships, I think U of T has like a portal where you can.
There is, but it's not actually part of your academics. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There are a lot of resources for you to find internship as well at U of T, right? It's not like the school doesn't care about you getting a job, right? There's a lot of networking sessions you can go to, right? There are clubs dedicated into helping you find a good
It's just not part of the credit, is what you're saying.
Yeah, but it's not actually part of your academics. Whereas in Waterloo, it's like
It's on you to do the work and to get those internships and start applying and things like that. Whereas in Waterloo, it's sort of
it's
a part
mandatory,
of the
right?
program,
Yeah.
given that you'll be doing these things. Right?
Wait,
you're almost pushed towards it, I would say.
so if it's part of your credits and stuff, that means like, okay, yeah, so they do take it into account very heavily. Like you get marked on that too, right?
It's not a mark. You usually do. So every single co-op term, your employer will evaluate you, and that will go on your record. The other thing you will do is you'll do a report. It's called a PD report, and that's a whole report on goals that you achieved over your co-op term, things like that.
Oh, okay, yeah. It's one of those like after things and then you support.
Yeah, but you take it seriously, very seriously.
Yeah.
Okay. And
U of T, if you're keen about it, right, it shouldn't be too difficult to find an internship because again, it's in Toronto, right? That's a tech center of Canada.
Yeah.
Right. Like none of my friends who are active in the school CS community actually struggle to find an internship. But again, as Nameerah said, the difference is that you have to do it yourself, right? It's not actually part of your program, right?
Okay. Was it easy for you? Like, were you able to find?
Yeah, I have an internship this summer.
Okay, cool. Yeah. All right.
Okay, so if most of your work is just theoretical, do you spend a lot of time on programming and working on projects? And if like you work on any projects, what are some examples of these assignments or projects that you're working?
That's a great question because I mean, if you are in university in a CS program, I would really encourage you to do as many side projects as you can, right? Ones that will show up on your resume and that will really make you stand out against other people, right? Who don't do side projects. Go to a lot of hackathons, right? That's my big advice. Yeah. If you don't know what a hackathon is, it's not actually like hacking computers, right? All it means is that you're giving 24 hours to pretty much program whatever you like, whatever cool things that you like, right? You can showcase to the judges at the end of the day. It's a really fun experience.
It's a lot of fun, and then you make tons of friends, and you create some really cool things at the end of the day. So, highly recommend.
And no experience required, right? You can go in with like zero experience. Yeah.
All right. Samuel, go ahead with the next one.
So aside from like co-op or like projects, the question is, are there any research opportunities in CS at Waterloo or U of T?
Yeah, I think at U of T there's a lot because a lot of the professors are taking in students as summer research interns, right? Like I know a few of my friends in second year, they already have a good relations with professors, and they're doing a research co-op term, research internship. Right.
So for Waterloo, it's similar. You can work with a prof at the university, but if you're into research, you can also use co-op towards that. So in our co-op portal, for example, I've seen tons of listings for research intern at, really great tech companies. Last term, I remember seeing a research intern position at, was it Snapchat or Facebook? One of the two. So there's really good opportunities both in co-op and also within the university with professors.
Mm-hmm. And I think if you're interested in research, U of T's see as one of the best in the world because of the research, right? We have an amazing team of professors who are absolutely top of the field, right, in the entire world. So,
U of T in general is good at research, right? Because when you look at the Macleans and the top magazines,
it's not just for CS, but
ranks,
for other things as well, right?
Ranks number one for psychology and most arts and sciences and stuff. But
so if you can get to know your professors and do a research internship at the university, that will be really nice if that's what you're into.
Alex, would you say UFT has more of a research focus? Because I know Waterloo has more of an industry focus. So
I think U of T, at least grad school, right? Grad school is definitely more research focused. Yeah. And U of T as a whole is more research focused. Yeah.
Research focused, got it. Yeah, I think Waterloo is a little more industry focused.
Yes. But with that being said, it doesn't mean that you cannot find things that are industry focused at U of T though. There's a lot of extracurricular things that you can do, right? Like I'm part of a leadership program that you can apply to after your first year in the CS department, right? That hooks you up with a lot of networking sessions and getting to know the industry professionals and things like that.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think an interesting question is, since you guys are doing double degrees, how do you balance your time between the two? So Waterloo and Laurier double degree or the other.
Right. So every single term we have courses at both the university. Our BBA courses are obviously at Laurier and the CS ones are at Waterloo. So a typical day would be I might have a morning class at Laurier and an afternoon class at Waterloo. So I'm usually going back and forth between the universities.
How far are the campuses?
Sorry?
How far are the campuses?
By walk, it's depending on which building you're going to, but it can be as less as 10 minutes.
Oh, that's nice. I didn't know that.
But the buses are free with your student card, so you can just hop on the bus, right? You just show your card and you're on the bus.
Yeah.
Because you pay for the bus pass with your tuition, so your student card acts as your bus pass.
Gotcha.
Between universities is not really an issue at all.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So in terms of lectures, it's divided up like that between the day. Some days you'll only have Waterloo classes. Some days you'll only have Laurier classes. In terms of assignments and stuff, it's just like any other class. You have your separate deadlines and you work with that.
I mean, for me, it's slightly easier, right? Because although I'm doing two majors in philosophy and computer science, they're both in U of T's main campus, right? So it's pretty much the same as any other degree, right? You walk.
Wait, is it St. George?
Buildings. Pardon?
St. George campus?
St. George, yeah, St. George.
Okay.
Yeah, you walk to different buildings. As an university, you have different deadlines for different courses, right?
Right. Oh yeah, that's cool. Wow, is it hard to manage your time though? I started double degree.
Yeah.
I mean, double degree is kind of like the standard at U of T, right?
Oh, actually?
Yeah, everyone in the arts and science, they're expected to do a double degree.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
And it's not extra tuition, so you might as well just.
It's not extra tuition. It's just it's a standard here, right? You ask anyone, right? They're doing double degree in something and something.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And
usually people do it in related fields though, like anthropology and history, or
something like that.
Math and statistics, right?
And for you, it's
I'm a weird case. I'm doing arts and science, right?
So it's the tech-ish field of ethics and stuff. So
you can take courses, right? You can tailor your program to whatever your interest best fits.
Right. Is it an extra year if you do a dual degree? Because I know in Western Ivy they have a program.
It's 4 years.
Oh, it's still 4?
4 years.
Do you just work longer hours?
No, it's standard. It's standard at U of T, right?
Oh, actually. Oh, okay.
It's a standard degree at U of T Arts and Science for you to have 2 majors. Yeah.
So just a clarification, is it a double degree or a double major? Do you get
it's a double major, but I get both Bachelor in Arts and Science at the end.
Yeah.
So you do get 2 degrees at the end. So it is technically a double degree.
Yeah, but it's a double major, right?
Okay, it's officially a double major. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. All right, let's move on. I think this is a good question. Any advice you would give your past self before university now, being in the current program that you are in, for the amount of years that you're in?
For me, it was to be a little easier on myself. In first year, a lot of us, honestly, like a lot of us are great students in high school, we're getting like top marks. And sometimes that does change a bit in university because the workload is different, right? So you might not be getting the exact same marks in university as you did in high school. And that sometimes does take a toll on you. And I personally was very hard on myself in all through first year, even into second year as well. I think the biggest learning experience for me during that time was to kind of know when to take a break, know when to, stop being super hard on myself and super critical of myself for no reason. Because at the end of the day, you're working as hard as you can, and as long as you do your best, you'll be fine.
I think that's a great answer. I'll probably say something along the same lines, especially for myself in first year, right? Because there are objective reasons why you have to work really hard in first year U of T CS, right, to stay in the program after your first year. But at the same time, I think I was putting way more time and being really stressed about it more than I should, right? So now I look back, I wish I can relax a bit more.
Yeah. I would say know what you need to do, know the marks that you need, and sort of have those targets, but don't try to pressure yourself into being the next Einstein. Like, it's okay. You'll get through it. I did the same thing to myself, and it took a toll on my self-esteem, and that's honestly not a good place to be in first year. So truth be told, you will be fine. Just don't criticize yourself. The other thing is that have a good group of friends that you can fall back on. Because for me, my support system were my friends in my program. And our program is extremely tight-knit. So I think that really benefits you in terms of having that good group of people that you can go to whenever you're having trouble, whenever you're, not feeling that great about yourself. And those people will get you through university. Trust me.
I think that's a great answer that might link into the next question about what the environment is like at the university, right? Because as you said, Waterloo, it's more tight-knit, but I think that's different at U of T because just given the sheer size of the campus and the sheer amount of students that we have, right? Mm-hmm. So it's nothing like high school where you'll see same people every day, right? More likely than not, most people that you meet will be strangers.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it's really important that you really have a core group of friends that you hang out with.
Exactly.
Whereas it's very easy to get lost in the big city.
Right. I wouldn't say Waterloo as a whole is tight-knit. It's more the programs, right? You kind of find your people within your program.
Yeah.
The program is a bit smaller. So it tends to be a bit more tight-knit.
Yes.
That being said, the upper years are also super helpful. Like I've had tons of first years and second years come up to me and I will like gladly send them all my notes from those classes, like we're very good in terms of helping people out. So I think that's the number one thing I absolutely love about my program.
Nice. Yeah.
All right, Sam, do you want to take the next one?
Sure. So we're gonna wrap up like pretty soon, but like very quickly, what are the cutoff averages, or like around what should our attendees be aiming for?
All right, rapid fire, let's go.
Oh, that's a good question. I actually can't answer this question because again, things are going to change for U of T from 2020. Yeah, so cutoff average probably be a lot higher than the previous years because we're giving out guaranteed offers straight from high school. Yeah, so it'll be slightly more competitive. So I actually don't know what the average would be, right? Because 2020 will be the first year of the new system. Yeah.
Okay. What about in Waterloo, the myths of 95s and stuff?
Yeah, aim for a 95, I'd say. But I think there's people with a 93 that have gotten in with good extracurriculars. So it's more about the whole package. But if you're aiming for something, I just try to aim for a 95.
Okay.
Yeah.
Someone's asked
like
actually
around
95.
Is that like around what you guys got?
Oh, One thing I should mention, the double degree cutoff is a couple percentages less than the single degree CS. So if you want to go into single degree CS, you could apply for both the double degree. You could actually, no, you apply for the double degree because how it works is that they consider you for the double degree. And if you don't get into the double degree, they automatically consider you for the single degree too.
Okay.
That way you have sort of both shots.
More chances.
Oh,
Okay.
interesting.
If you get into double degree and you're like, oh, I don't want to do business, just drop the business side and you're into single degree. Simple, right?
I heard that, and also in like in high school, like they take into account grade inflation. Like they look at the school that you're from, and they take the graduating class from the previous year of yours, and then based off of that, like they make like an adjusted average, whatever, something like that. Because I'm pretty sure like a lot of people are talking about them.
Yeah, I heard things about that, about Waterloo. Yeah. I'm pretty sure
Actually,
you probably do something similar to that.
Right.
I don't know the details of that, but might be. I don't know.
I mean, it makes sense
Okay.
because in Canada, we don't have a standardized test, right?
Right. Yeah. There's no
Yeah.
SAT. There's no ACT.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Samuel. Okay. Oh, okay. Let's go for a few more questions quickly. What are university lectures like?
Oh, very different from high school. Yeah. At least at
Actually,
U of T, it's you're stuck in a big lecture hall of like 200 students.
Yeah.
Right?
Is it boring? Is it just like blah blah blah?
Depends on the lecturer actually, because there are professors that even though you're talking to a big crowd and even though it's difficult material, they somehow have the ability to make it really interesting, right? But there are professors that just makes you want to sleep, right?
Okay.
Speaking of sleep, last question. Do you think
Yeah.
sleep is important?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Especially before exams. Like before an exam, try to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, I guess that's gonna be the end of Spotlight Pathways Day 2. Thank you to everyone who came today, and we hope that you learned a lot from our guests today. Thank you, Alex and Nameerah, for joining us today and speaking to over 100 students.
Wow.
Samuel, how much do we have in total actually today? 120 or something? Somewhere around there. Yeah.
We had a lot of registrants, but a lot of
Yeah,
people.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, but like we have like quite a lot of students, more than we expected. And as per
That's great.
tradition, now in our webinars, if you would like to connect with our LinkedIn, drop your links in below and we'll stay in touch. Make sure that you just say like, oh, you were from the webinar. So yeah, so we know that. Samuel, go ahead.
Yeah, so if you guys are looking for more opportunities such as today, you might have seen on the registration form that there are 2 more days of our series Spotlight Pathways. So day 3 is this Thursday, so in 2 days, April 16th, featuring business students from Queen's Commerce and Western Ivy. Day 4 is Tuesday, April 21st, featuring medical students from McMaster and Western Medical Sciences. So if you guys want to still sign up, just register the link in our Instagram bio. And lastly, remember to check out our podcast, The Kaizen Project, on YouTube or Spotify. And once again, thank you everyone so much for coming out today. Stay tuned, stay safe. And also thank you to Alex. He has an exam in like 1 hour.
Oh yeah, right. Alex, you have an exam, right?
It's an online
Everyone
exam
say
though.
thank you.
That's yeah.
Just like a test,
Not too
right?
worried about it. So.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Goodbye, everyone.
Thanks, guys.